The whole reason why we're here is to feel inner peace. It's to be corrupted, to feel the yang, to go through the hardship of conditioning and the loneliness and the boredom and the depression and the assault and all the abuse and psychological, mental and emotional abuse that we've experienced in every single one of us. We go through that. We get corrupted. We get dealt a bad set of cards on purpose for the reason of being a human. And then the whole point of being here is to feel that yang so that we can then move towards the yin and appreciate the true balance that it is to be a human. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. That is the point of living, as far as I'm concerned. You can put in all your Ferraris and fancy mountain bikes in the process, because I am as well. Don't worry about that. I'm playing the game of being an egotistic human and wanting possessions and whatnot. Absolutely, don't get me wrong. But the internal fulfillment, the internal bliss, that's the whole point. And being corrupted from when we get out of the womb, and then figuring out the process to figuring out who we really are, to find holism, to become whole. That's the purpose, because there's a lot of fulfillment that comes when you figure it out. And there's a lot of sense of humor that is released when you figure the whole shit out, because you're like, oh, this was just one big game. Why did I make it so complicated? Why did I think it was so real? Right? You don't need science to tell you that, the couch and everything's just protons and atoms and neurons and everything's just energy and nothing's real, and you don't need science to tell you that. When you figure out your own psychology, you figure out all the traps and all the corruptions and all the delusions that our ego tries to manipulate with, when you figure out that that's just a game, and then you figure out that you've become whole by feeling the emotions that were trying to guide you from the beginning, that you feel the depths of however much sorrow there is and pain and whatever, when you figured out that that's the key to feeling the best that you've ever felt, you realize that we're just in a Nintendo, a PlayStation. We're figurines with a joystick, and we're the ones playing our own joystick. That's the best part about it. And we are the gods. Let me repeat that. We are the gods. Stick that in your pipe and smoke that one as well. How are we gods? We are gods because we're all the same, right? We've all got some kind of consciousness that's watching the watcher. We see what's around us, but then we can actually watch who's seeing it as well. We believe that we're the thinker, but we can watch the thoughts, who's thinking them. You touch something, but you can also watch yourself touching it as well. There's a consciousness in us, there's a consciousness in the dog, there's a consciousness in the plants. The consciousness is God. And let me tell you something. From my short experience of living this little cool life that I've lived so far, that consciousness is very smart. It's very smart. And you look at the sacred geometry and all these, mathematical equations all equaling the same thing, and the beautiful images that come from the mathematical equations. And there's a very, very big intelligence to this consciousness. Let me tell you that. And if you are that intelligence, what the fuck are you doing with it? Right? And if you are that consciousness, that intelligence, why do you think that you don't deserve to tap into the abundance that this intelligence has created in the first place? Put that one in your pipe, right? What makes you think you can't have that? If you're made up of everything else, of other people who are tapping into that abundance, why the fuck aren't you doing the same thing? But no, we get corrupted, we get deluded that being a god is egotistical It's maniacal. You don't want to be seen as that person who's calling himself a god or herself a god, because you'll be thrown out of the group. The tribe won't want you anymore because you're too egotistical. Or if the tribe is what you want to be a part of, is it working for you right now? No, it's not. So you're best to change your psychology about who you really are and accept that you are a god, and that if you want to play by those rules, that you are part of this whole collective consciousness is what they call it, then you better start acting that way. You better start behaving like you do want to be part of that frequency of abundance and positivity and peace and bliss and all that stuff. It's all the same shit. The way you think, the way you feel, the respect you have for yourself with the people you hang around with, the respect you have with yourself with the job that you go to. If that shit isn't congruent with your soul, which is the collective consciousness, which is the intelligence that's created the whole damn thing, the intelligence that synchronizes events for you to either show you that hey, this is the roller coaster of life, or B, you just need to learn something before you can jump on the roller coaster. If you tap into that, and if your job isn't congruent with that part of you, which you'll find out in the silence of feeding your soul, if the people in your life aren't congruent with the soul that you feed in the silence of the soul, if none of that shit's congruent, you're never going to get to the abundance. Let me tell you that for a damn fact.